obviously the breaking news for this week was the Shogun breaking all the Emmy records, being for the
Yeah.
most nominated thing for 40 in Emmys. And I think you've watched it, I've watched it. I think a lot of people have watched it, and that's why it's got so many Emmys. And it was sick. I think it's
It was honestly, it was amazing. Like
yeah,
I was on. I remember watching the first trailer when it came out, and I was like, "This is just like everything I like, sort of thing." Like I love like I love like anything Japanese culture,
yeah, yeah.
like that whole samurai culture thing. Like I like one of my favorite films is The Last Samurai. Um, love
Great
that
film.
film.
Great
I
film.
honestly I watch that film like every year, but yeah, the Shogun, it was just like everything about it was like on point. Like it was the whole because the main guy is obviously like the biggest Japanese actor probably
Yeah, yeah,
about. I can't remember his name, um, but I wouldn't be able to pronounce it either way.
yeah, yeah.
But he made sure like everything was really authentic. Like I'm pretty sure the majority of the cast is Japanese actors or actresses, um, and it was probably the best first season I've watched like ever. Probably
Ever. I was gonna
probably
say
ever, apart from maybe Prison Break. Like Prison
House of
Break's probably up
Dragons.
there.
House of Dragons being like considering it as a spin-off.
No, I wouldn't say that was. I
House of
wouldn't say
Dragons
that.
is
I
sick.
wouldn't
I
say the
think the
first
dragons were
season
done
was
very,
because of
very
that.
well.
I would say this is better. First season was better than House of Dragon first season one. I think,
Do you think
but
the it's obviously based on a true story, the Shogun story, obviously probably expanded beyond its realism, but
yeah.
I do think the English guy was very funny. I don't think it was supposed to be
Oh
funny,
yeah,
but when he
he
was like,
was.
"You Portuguese,"
Yeah, he
he
was
killed
actually
it.
such a good. He was such a good like protagonist in it. He was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
brilliant.
My
Like
favorite character though, my favorite character, I can't remember his name. Don't know the actor's name. But the guy who wore green, like the chieftain of the green people, who like just kept betraying everyone, but was just like a pawn in everyone else's games. I don't. We probably don't want to reveal the ending. He like he
I
does
can't
like
remember.
he says a very good line near the end of the episode. And he says, "What does it feel?" I can't remember the exact words, but it's like, "How does it feel to control the winds around you?" He says
Okay.
it to like the main guy, and then obviously so yeah, I'll skip the other stuff that happens. But he was just such a good character because he just seemed very real. Like that is just like I think when we watch these shows like House of Dragon for example, everything is just so dramatic, and it was
Yeah.
dramatic in Shogun. But this guy just showed someone who's just trying to survive in the trenches. Even though he was quite high up in society, he was just like it shows that there's always like a bigger fish sort of thing. And yeah, I thought he was. I think he's actually from like I think he is an actor, but I think his main job's like he's in like a Japanese rock band or something like that. And he's a very cool guy
Very
in real
cool.
life, I think. Yeah, which is quite funny. But yeah, I
The-
don't know if they're making a season two. Do you know?
they have confirmed they're making a season two. Like they weren't originally. They originally because I think it's based on a book, um, rather than real life.
The
But I
the,
can't
the,
remember.
the, the guy did go there. He's but the book might be based like it might be fiction
Yeah, it
based off a
might be.
true
Yeah,
story or something. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure. I might
Um,
be dead wrong.
I can't remember, but they were planning to just do like one season because it was based off that story. But I think they basically saw how well it was
Yeah,
received and was like, we've got to keep this going.
yeah.
And like obviously like the cast and everyone, they probably wanted it to keep going. Like
Who doesn't?
the
Success is
yeah,
breeds
success is
success.
success, and the main actress, I don't know her real name, but she's Mirako on it, Mariko, in it in the show. Um, she's in the Apple TV, the MonsterVerse series. What's it called? Monarch. Sorry, Monarch. You're not into that sort of stuff, are you? No, don't
Not
worry.
watched it.
It's a really good series for it's like the King Kong, Godzilla, that
Ah,
universe.
zero
Yeah,
interest.
yeah, exactly. So I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Like, I love Godzilla, all that kind of stuff. But she's in it as well, and she's like the main actress in that,
Okay.
and she's just really doing amazing. This whole thing, like she's such a good actress. And in Shogun, she was my favorite character in it because I think she's beautiful. She's just an amazing actress,
Hmm.
and she's just everything about her in this show is like just badass.
Who's
Like
she in the show? Was she the one who became the
she's the
wife
like
of
the
the big of
translator. The like
yeah, yeah,
she
yeah.
yeah,
Not the wife.
and
Yeah,
she
sorry, not the wife, but yeah, the one
yeah
who's don't want to reveal the show too much, but yeah, it's the translator. Yeah,
Well, it's been out for a while, so people who
she
watched
was
it.
sick. She was really good in
She
it
was
as well.
so cool and
And
like
how they did the languages, that was
yeah.
very well like done. Like how they transitioned like across them quite seamlessly, and it didn't feel too
Yeah,
like
yeah,
abrupt
because
or anything.
they transitioned from like English to them speaking Spanish, Japanese. And yeah,
Yeah,
everything about the show was like so on point, done so well. Everything was completely authentic, and like even like the little things like the women walking.
yeah,
I remember like the women walking and how they walk. Like it's like yeah, like a bit strange, but like even that was like
vibes.
you just know that that's how it. Like, obviously, like we're not like Japanese culture. We don't know like if it's real or not. But everything looks how you'd imagine it would look,
Hmm.
and like everything about it. And obviously, the like you said, the British guy was amazing. The guy was meant to be British was
You
amazing.
Portuguese bastards.
Yeah, his accent's brilliant. I love his accent. Like everything when he's like just taking when he's just like calling them all like dogs and all this stuff
Yeah.
in English and like he came out with so many like good lines.
Just funny. Like the thing is,
Yes.
they were funny, but they're not. He was just like he's being traumatized, and I'm just like,
Oh
no, he's
yeah,
funny traumatized.
he goes through a
He
rough time.
does, but
But
he gets some good like, living in. You know, he's
yeah, he
experiencing
gets
his
some
best
good
moments.
moments. But
Yeah,
I think like my favorite scene in that whole thing was when you know when they're stealing the boat and they're getting the main guy
yeah. Out of the main
out of
city, yeah.
out of the main city. I can't the
We
show
watched it a while ago. To be fair, yeah.
watched it a while ago now, so it's really hard to bring back. But and they leave the guy behind, who's
The husband.
Mariko's husband.
Yeah,
That's that whole scene where he's like kneeling and the
yeah.
main guy is like shouting and giving him like whatever. Like that whole scene was like pure like chills and like it was just amazing. Like the whole cinematic, everything was like the
Felt very
cinema.
real, didn't it?
Yeah,
We say cinematic, it was like it didn't feel like we were watching actors. It felt like we were watching people live in their culture, and this guy who's just turned up and was like, it's like if it was obviously alien to him, because very different, but it seemed like we were watching more of a documentary than almost like than an actual like show in that regard.
yeah.
But yeah, anyway, we'll move on from that because we'll
Big
have to
fan.
see how many of them they win. Let's see if they win them all. But
Mhm.
oh wait, no, they what? Did they win the 14 or were they
They've won.
nominated?
They've won those 14, but they're meant to get more.
Oh, okay, we'll have to see how
I
many he
think
gets
like
up to.
I think the way it works is they like release a certain amount of like of ones that they know they can confirm they've won, and then there's other ones they're up for.
They got to
Something
do,
like
then they
that.
do some like at the Emmys.
Yeah, this is like before the main. I think the main ceremony is like this weekend or next
Yeah,
weekend.
we'll have to wait and see. And then we'll move to something a bit of a more somber note. Obviously, the passing of James Earl Jones, which obviously is very sad for the world, but he did live a very good life all the way to the age of 93, I believe, which is obviously he's in a very massive personality for so many people as Darth Vader, the voice of Darth Vader, and the voice of Mufasa from The Lion King, which is massive. So he's had a very impactful, and I'm sure he's been in many other things, but for me, they were the two obviously largest ones because Star Wars is like a big passion for me. For everyone, I think
Darth
very,
Vader
very
is
cool guy.
probably the most iconic character in all of
a lot of things. Yeah, in cinema, he's like if you hear, he doesn't even need to speak. You just need to hear him breathe, and then the deep booming voice that he obviously carried forward was, it will carry on for generations. And I think he's signed away the rights for he's read like thousands of words, not millions, but thousands of words, and now they can recreate it for future use. So his voice will carry on long past, carrying forward his legacy, which is very cool. But it's always good to see that someone's lived to their life to the fullest. And obviously, someone passing is never good, but at least you can. For him, it's very much a celebration of his life.
Oh yeah, and obviously you can look back at all his films, and obviously, and you can celebrate his life, and it's all.
And he was active to the very end. Like really, he's. I think there's a bit of a. I can't remember if this is entirely true. Maybe another actor I think of, but I think in the Star Wars franchise at least, he was the same person to do Darth Vader's voice in all the movies, all 9 of them. So through all those decades, I think the only other person who might have done the same thing was the actor who played Chewbacca. So I think obviously he didn't do any voice.
Yeah, just the noises.
But he's like the actor who was there at least, which is very interesting. But yeah, we'll move on from that. And obviously, yes, it was a very I might have to watch the Star Wars film now. It's made me think about it a bit more. But anyway, we'll move on to a different
I
franchise,
haven't watched
another
this
massive
film
one.
in forever.
But we'll have to move on to another massive franchise, which is The Rings of Power. Obviously, season 2 has come out. 5 episodes are out. I am up to episode 4. I need to watch episode 5 that came out recently. Why have you watched episode 5?
Came out on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've heard it's pretty good. I've heard 5 is a pretty good one, so I'm looking forward to it. But I'm enjoying them. I enjoyed season 1. I enjoyed season 2 so far. I think it costs a lot of money, but I think the money's it's good. I think it's
it is good. I don't think it's
great.
Obviously, it doesn't live up to the. In my opinion, it doesn't live up to the films because the films are just on a different stratosphere. They're like different level, but it is good for what it is. I'm just I don't know. I'm kind of finding it hard to connect with the characters and stuff like that. So it's a bit. It's like I don't. Obviously, it's very lore heavy.
Yeah, so, it's very much of the books, I believe. I think people actually don't like it because of it. They're like, "Oh, orcs have families," and actually, in the books, orcs did have families.
Like the Somali, Similarian or something. That book, whatever.
Yeah, the Cimmerillion, where the
He talked about that. Tolkien talked about that, something like that. Some people were trying to be like, "Oh no, he didn't write about this," and then obviously the people who actually have read everything know that he did. But yeah, there's a lot of people I feel like there's a lot of just people trying to hate on it because
like everything, like Star Wars projects.
Because people hate on everything.
And people hate Shogun 2 season 2 because it's people love to hate series because they're like, it's not what it was. But I think it's good, and I think I quite enjoy it because there's a lot of guessing, and even if you don't know the lore or don't need to know the lore, it's ready for some lore. So where during the Age of Man and in the Middle Earth, you have Sauron, Gandalf, Radagast, and then there's 2 wizards called the Blue Wizards, and they do have names, but they're like Defender. I don't know that. You can look that up if anyone wants to. But basically, everyone's trying to think: is this evil wizard Saruman, and is this the Stranger, as he's referred to on Amazon? Click his name. Everyone thinks that that's Gandalf, and they do clever hints. They make him bless the land, and is that going to become Hobbiton? Maybe, and I think that's a misdirect. I think these 2 guys are going to be the Blue Wizards because we don't know much about them, and so it's you're not going to be damaging.
As in,
characters.
are you talking about the one they now call? I'm not actually. This is in the 5th episode, so you won't know. But
there's an evil wizard.
There's an evil wizard. Yeah, you're talking about him
and those 2. They're both wizards. They come from the Valar, and so they are like Gandalf, and I think that they will come together, and they will do what they get mentioned. They're very, very rare, not that much about them in the text, and so I think there's people who you can expand on without stepping on the toes of other people. So I think it's very clever. I think hopefully that is the truth, because then, and they're in the East, and the Blue Wizards arrive, and they spend their time in the East stopping Saruman gain support. Eventually, apparently, I'm spoiling it for anyone who's maybe listening, but it all makes sense. And I might be wrong. It might be Gandalf, but it all lines up.
They're leaving it up for interpretation, aren't they? You don't know, that, and that's a good thing, obviously.
Yeah, it keeps you guessing. It keeps you guessing of who the hell are they? And so it's a bit of a mystery as well.
And that was for the first season, you weren't sure who Sauron was. You didn't know if it was that guy.
I think it was quite obvious when he revealed it. I was like.
On the early episodes, I remember people thinking, "Oh, is it that one or is it the Halbrand or whatever?" Yeah. So I don't know, I want to like it. I want to really love it, but I'm just not quite there yet. I
love the dwarves. The dwarves, big up the dwarves, big up all the actors.
Big fan of the dwarves, yeah.
I think the dwarves.
Really Prince Durin.
Yeah,
big fan of this for him
and his dad. He's
a bit of a dick, but
he is a dick. But he's a good character because you're damn, actually and he's gonna they're gonna wake up during Spain. They're gonna wake up the Balrog, and so
I'm looking forward to that.
It's gonna be mad. It's gonna be mad, and I think his wife's a really good character, and I really liked the singing of the stones and stuff, and that was a really cool aspect they've added.
I do like that they bring how much they stick to the lore and stuff like that because
it's just cool. Just cool, I think, and so that for me, I think it's hard to get behind liking elves a little bit because they're just a bit. Well, they're a bit of dicks as well.
The king is just a knobhead. He's just not. He's very likable, but he's probably meant to be.
But elves are just they're egotistical. They think they're they live for so much longer. It's hard for them not to probably see everyone else is just like
Peasants.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, like it's the second class, like sort of species almost. Literally, it's an interesting one. But I think season 3 is confirmed. I think season 3 4. I think season 3 is filming, and I think season 4 is probably like
Yeah,
confirmed.
they're going to
Something
do
crazy.
5. I think they're going to do 5 seasons.
So it's got a long way to go.
Yeah, there's still a long way to go, obviously. But I don't. This is a thing I hate about everything coming like new series these days is they don't do enough episodes.
Yeah,
like
agreed.
You've got in my opinion, like 10 to 12 episodes is perfect. Like, or even 14. Like around that number. Anything below that is just not enough for a season.
Yeah. It's like
especially
6
now
to 8
that
is just
especially now that everything takes like because these are all like basically mini movies. Like everything takes like 2 years between seasons. Like if you're making us wait that long, give us at least 10 episodes. Just 10. The bare minimum of 10. Prison Break had like 20 episodes in the first season. Like, and they weren't even like short episodes. They were like 40, 50 minutes. Like give us at least 10, 12. Like I just I finished The Wire the other week, and that every season apart from the last season was like 13, 14 episodes, and that was like perfect, and I really enjoyed the whole thing. But yeah, just the fact that like House of Dragon was 8 episodes. I think this is 8 episodes. Everything is like 8 episodes, 6 episodes. The new Game of Thrones spin-off, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, that's 6 episodes. Like that's just not enough.
Yeah, I think there's some flexibility to it. Like I can't remember what the exact ones for the Star Wars ones are, but they're obviously quite they vary. But if it's like when you say about the what's his name, Duncan the Tool or something? I think
Duncan the Tool, yeah.
If it's 6 episodes, if it's one season, they're just telling a short story. Oh no, not 6 seasons. Sorry, 6 episodes, and it's just a short story. I get that, but if it is something that like where it's big scale stories like the House of Dragon or the Rings of Power, you're right. I think it needs to be 10 to 12 episodes.
Yeah.
So you feel like
if it's a little limited series, then yeah, kind of fair enough. But I'd imagine this because he's quite important.
Yeah.
In the books and stuff.
Spoiler.
Yeah. So like, I'd imagine there's more content.
Well, it all depends how it's received, isn't it? Just like Shogun. We'll make one season. It's a short thing. People will like it, but if people love it, it just opens up more doors.
Yeah. So.
But I think that you're right, and 100%, and like cult favorite things, cult classics, because like there's enough material in like you can watch your first season and be like, that was sick. I've like actually like followed these people on a journey.
Yeah, because
you're, like,
it's
8
like
episodes in, you're
character
like
development and all this stuff. You don't get that with these episodes because a lot of people had issues with this season of House of Dragon because it was a lot of character development,
a lot of talking,
not enough action, a lot of dialogue. But if you had 10 episodes, you could have fit more action into this season, and you could still have that character development, and people wouldn't have okay. Was so down.
Let me propose this to you though. Is it Hollywood gone lazy? Let's put it this way. I'm not talking about Hollywood, but like producers gone lazy, or is it that the fans and fan bases do not have the capacity to allow story development anymore?
It's a bit of both. Like there's obviously a lot of the thing is like if Game of Thrones released now, it wouldn't have been the hit it was.
Yeah, that's
because people don't let fans in general just don't let these seasons develop. Like if you go back and watch, for example, like Game of Thrones or the differences like Breaking Bad, the first seasons are brilliant, but there is a lot of.
But are they brilliant because we know the ending? Like we know where they're going to go, and you're like,
yeah, you look back on them. You look back on them fonder because you've watched the whole thing.
Yeah. But
because you know how it ends. You know how you know the best episodes, stuff like that. But like Game of Thrones, the first couple seasons, there's not a lot of massive action. There's a lot of scenes where they lead up to a battle and they don't even show the battle, and you just see the end of the battle, stuff like that. And that stuff will.
The season 6 where they got to the pinnacle battle at Winterfell, and it was just pitch black. I think that's peak.
That's season 8. That's
season 8. Yeah, season 8. I think it will go down in history as one of the funniest things I think ever that's happened. Like it's just
that was because they said that they wanted it to be like the long night and like make it so you could. But that's another issue in itself because a lot of shows and movies these days look terrible.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and
You've
look
lost
at like
practical effects. You go to animation.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a lot of that was another thing really good with Shogun. The lighting and stuff was amazing, even though it was like dark scenes. Like the issue, a lot of things like they don't realize you can have it dark, but you can still have it so people can see everything.
Yeah.
Like
Tactical
lighting is
stuff.
just a lost art in movies and series and stuff like that. So obviously there's a way. I've watched the episode where like a person like modded it or whatever, so you can see like everything, and it does look a lot better then. But but yeah, the whole
whole
thing.
I think it is modern audiences, and I think maybe I've been guilty of it. I don't know if you ever watched it, but Ted Lasso. I did not. I tried to watch it, didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
Oh, whoa. I tried. I watched a couple episodes and I thought this is weird. I don't like it. And then I sat down. I finished whatever I was watching, and Lauren and we went, let's give it another go. And then we got 5 episodes, and I was like, okay, this is actually pretty good. And like this is it. You get that like everyone's guilty of it, and I know fans are bad at it, but I'm like I didn't know really what it was, and so like I wasn't giving it as much of a chance as I should. But like I think what a lot of people do, even in genres they like, they'll pick. Like I said, I pick up that book or one of these books, and I read the first chapter, and I will close it and go, I didn't like the ending, but I didn't read the ending, and that's people's conclude. They like conclude a series. I think there was a famous. I want to say it was like IGN or like a big well known like reporting agency of like things. There was someone who reported on the Witcher series when it first came out and said, "Oh, I didn't have time to watch it, so I watched the first episode, the third episode, and the last episode." And people were like, "What? How can you give a review?" And I think actually, that's almost like what people feel like they need to do to like people need to know the ending before they watch it, because otherwise it's not worth it.
They want to know where it's going and stuff like that.
And it just seems
they
like
don't let stuff develop. Yeah. And I for me that was, I don't know if you watched Severance on Apple TV.
Severance.
No,
it's a very Apple TV series. I never check Apple TV.
It's a very good show. It's on Apple TV, but it's a very slow burn at the start. It's very strange at the start.
Severance.
But at that point when it got released, it got like loads of Emmys and stuff like that. It basically took a load from House of Dragon because they really released at the same time. But that show is amazing. The first season was brilliant, but it's such a slow burner. I know what you just looked at, by the way. I know, I've seen it. But yeah, so Severance is that's like the first few episodes is really slow, very strange. But then once you get into the episodes, you can see where it's going and everything like that.
I'll watch it. I'm going to watch it. Next episode, I'm going to have to tell you my opinion. It's got some high reviews. Rotten Tomatoes 97.
It's really good, but you've got to give it
Blackbird?
time. Yeah, loved it. Amazing.
That's probably one of the best shows I've watched recently in like recent years. Unbelievably good.
The villain is. He's in a few. He's in
loads of stuff. He's really good. He's
amazing. He's such a good actor, and like in Blackbird, it's such a brilliant.
It makes your skin crawl in a little bit because it's so good.
It's really creepy. I wouldn't recommend like watching it when it's dark or anything like that. But
there was